Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. As usual, I'm your host, Scott. You know to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BarbChairScott. It is April 13th, 2023, man. We are a couple days away from the NBA playoffs, man. You are rocking us with us right now on the Barbers Chat Network. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Barbers Chat Net. You rock with us on H&B Media, man. You can follow H&B Media on Twitter at H&B Media TV and at H&B Media on Instagram. Subscribe to the Barbers Chat Patreon, patreon.com/Barbers Chat Network, and visit the Barbers Chat Net website, thebcnet.com. And while you're on there, the NFL draft is in 2 weeks. We will be live, not really live. I'm not gonna be streaming it then. We will be in Kansas City for the NFL draft. Me and my brother Flows on behalf of Barbers Chat Network and 79th and Hallis. Our second draft in a row will be in Kansas City doing that. But if you were in Chicago and you're looking for a place to watch the NFL draft to usher in this new era of Chicago Bears football, if you're not even a Bears fan, if you're a fan of any other team, everybody in the NFL has a draft pick in the NFL. If you're a Cowboys fan, if you're a Patriots fan, Vikings, whatever. We're even gonna let you punk ass Packer fans in. Anybody, if you want to come in and find a place to watch the NFL draft, pull up to Haymarket Pub and Brewery in the West Loop area of Chicago, Illinois. That is 737 West Randolph Street. We will be having an NFL draft watch party, man. It will be hosted by our man JR Bang. Of course, he is one of our many hosts here at the Barbers Chat Network. He's going to be holding it down. I got my girls, The Label. They're going to be DJing for you guys, too. The doors will be open from 5 p.m. It'll be lasting from 5 to 10:30. The draft starts at 7. So come down there, have a good time, kick it with everybody. We're going to have raffles for prizes. It's going to be a whole bunch of good vibes going on no matter what team you root for, man. Come fuck with the Barbers Chat Network. So go either to my Twitter page at Barberchair Scott, or you can go to the Twitter page for Barbers Chat Network at Barbers Chat Net, and you can see the Eventbrite link. In fact, I'm gonna get Pappy to put the link in the description somewhere too. If you want to put the link in the description when you're watching the show later on, and you can go out there and just RSVP. You need RSVP to get in, man. So we would love to come see you there. So come fuck with us, man. But we are not going to be talking about the NFL today. We are in the dry spell of the National Football League right now, where we're making up storylines because we got 14 days to the draft and we don't know what the fuck to talk about. We're still talking about Aaron Rodgers and shit. I mean, you got Odell Beckham finally signed, and he's going to be going to the Ravens. Whether or not Lamar Jackson will follow him is a whole different discussion. But today, it's all about the National Basketball Association. If you are a subscriber to this great channel, most of the shit that you watch is probably basketball. I'm the only show on this network, on this media company, that really doesn't talk basketball as much during the regular season. But we're here to get into it. This is the full NBA playoff preview show, man. We are about 48 hours, less than 48 hours away from the kickoff of the NBA playoffs. We've already done with 2 days of play-in games. We got one more night of play-in games tomorrow night. So I'm gonna kick off my sound off with the NBA play-in tournament. In the words of the old 1980s NBA slogan, is fantastic. That's exactly what the play-in tournament is. Y'all know I shit on Adam Silver all the time. Like I said, he might be a great guy. I don't know the dude personally. If he wants me to do anything for the NBA, I'm down. As far as his actual commissioner duties, I've not been a big fan. But if there's anything that I feel has been a slam dunk, home run, touchdown, whatever you want to say, has been the invention of the play-in tournament. Now in its third year going on, it's just been competitive, man. I think it's something where I think it helps tanking as much as it possibly can. I don't think there's really much you can do besides that. I think it's changed a lot, even changes the way teams approach themselves at the trade deadline when you have 20 teams in it. And more than anything, to me, it gives young teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, you know what I'm saying? Teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves who, have a spotlight for them to be able to get into the NBA playoffs. And I think these first 2 nights, of course, last year was good. The year before, when it was like still about 10% capacity crowds. Of course, we remember the two really I guess you want to say legendary. I don't know if we call them legendary, but two of the biggest games in the inaugural play-in tournament was the Lakers Warriors one, where LeBron hit the three for them to win, and of course we know Ja Morant and the Grizzlies having their first we're here moment by beating and eliminating the Golden State Warriors in that play-in game. But these 2 nights have been great. I mean, the Lakers Timberwolves game was probably some of the worst actual basketball I've seen, but it was very, very entertaining. It was like a car crash. Like you couldn't, you don't want to look, but you couldn't keep your eyes off. It was exactly what Wolves Lakers was. We know all the other games like the Thunder and the Pelicans was a great game. The way those two teams went back and forth, an amazing, 60 plus points put up by Josh Giddey and Shea Gilders-Alexander, which get them to advance to the number eighth seed playing game, which they'll be going up against Carl Towns, Anthony Edwards, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And, the only one that really wasn't, noteworthy was the Hawks and the Heat. The Hawks actually should have won that by more. But the game everybody's talking about is the one that had my Chicago Bulls going up against the Toronto Raptors in the 6 over there in Toronto. I still call Air Canada Center because I'm old school. I don't know what the fuck the new name is, but it's still Air Canada Center to me. And this was a game where I'm not going to lie, I turned it off for a couple minutes. They were down 19 points somewhere in the third quarter. I went and, left to go do something else, came back to the crib, and I see it's a 5-point game. Now, if you saw my Twitter page and my Instagram page, I did not pick the Bulls in my play-in predictions. In fact, I'm 1-3 in my play-in predictions so far. The only team that won that I picked was the Lakers. But it was a really exciting second half to watch. I think the things that stood out to me was Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, we've Bulls fans since the moment he's been traded. We've been waiting for that it moment. Last year in the playoffs, his first postseason game, first postseason series against the Milwaukee Bucks, he didn't play well. Now that we know now, it's because of how hurt he was. We didn't know until after the series that he was pushing back surgery and things like that. He was a shell of himself. And this year, really since the calendar has hit January, even closer to like February, really, the man has been playing just out of his mind. He's been playing out of his mind. I think Bulls fans for last year have, since we got DeMar, but like, yo, DeMar needs to pass the ball to Zach. Well, Zach has ripped that battalion from DeMar in the second half of the season. And it's like he just woke up and was like, you know what? I'm fast as hell. Nobody can stop me from getting to the basket. Let me get to the basket. He kept going to the basket, and that started softening up the defense. And it started to allow DeMar to be able to do things that he wanted to do. Because we all know DeMar's postseason history is not great either. And I know the play-in game isn't a playoff game, but it is a postseason game. So this was a bigger moment for him. And this was a lot was on the line for DeMar. Him returning to the place that drafted him, and the place that he says is, his second home after Compton. The place that, turned him from a boy to a man. And he was able to go out there and help eliminate this team. He really wanted to do that. It was just a real competitive game. I love what I saw across the board. Alex Caruso, Pat Bev were defensive dogs in that second half. It was just great to see as a Bulls fan. And I know the Bulls aren't going to go on a run. I think if you're a Bulls fan, like this whole thing tomorrow, like it really doesn't matter if they win or not. Like the winner of that game is going to get fucking pulverized by Milwaukee. But I will say this to fans. I saw a couple fans like, well, I can't believe Bulls fans happy about this. Look, at the end of the day, man, fans, being a fan, man, every year you're not going to win a championship. And this is something I just realized a couple years ago. I used to be one of the fans who say, if you didn't win a championship, it's a failure. Now, in certain instances, if you're a contender, yes, I 100% agree with that. But sometimes you just got to take fun moments, man. We're not saying that the Bulls are going to, upset the Bucks and make a run. No, that's not going to fucking happen. But that was a fun night. That was a fun game to watch. It was fun to see Zach step up in a big-time situation for the first time in his career. It's been good to just see this team go out there and get a road win against a team like the Toronto Raptors. And it was fun to watch. But the real story here is not the Chicago Bulls 19-point comeback. The real story here is not DeMar DeRozan. The real story is not Zach LaVine. The story is DeMar DeRozan's 9-year-old daughter, Dior DeRozan. She was the MVP, shrieking from behind the basket every time a Toronto Raptor player would go to the free throw line. And it worked. For anybody who watched that game said she didn't have a part of it, no. They went 18 for 36. This is a team that shot 74% as a team at the free throw line this regular season and shot 50% last night. She had a big impact. And I even think Scotty Barnes even, brought up something like that in his post game yesterday. So that was cool, to have a moment. She will not be at the Miami game because she has to go to school, even though I think the school should give up pass. It's a fucking Friday anyway. Like, fuck school. Like, let her go to the Miami Heat game. We might need them down there. But that was a little cool little nugget to see in the game. It was just something that was fun. And it was just, a good moment for As Bulls fans, we haven't had much to cheer about this year. So I felt it was a cool little moment last night to watch that. And as far as the Minnesota Thunder game, man, I just love what I'm seeing from this Oklahoma City Thunder team. I mean, they've really got a team that I feel like is going to be a problem in a couple years. You've got a very bright point guard in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who just made his first All-Star team this year. You got Josh Giddey. And people forget, y'all had the number one pick. They had the number one pick. Chet Holmgren did not play a second this year. So he's going to be back next year. They've got 18 fucking draft picks. Now, I don't believe they're going to sign a big-time free agent. I don't know about y'all. I've spent time in Oklahoma City. It's very fucking boring. But I do feel like they have enough assets, enough trade capital to be able to trade for a potential disgruntled superstar. And I think the sky's the limit for them to even win 40 games this season. I feel like it was a lot better than anybody expected. And now they have a chance, if they win on Friday night, that they will be the youngest team in league history to make the NBA playoffs, man. So that is going to be very fun to watch on Friday. So let's just get into my predictions, man. We're gonna get into my predictions now. I didn't put the two playing games on the rundown. That was my fault, Pappy. That's not you. That was my fault. So I'm just gonna get my picks for them anyway. For Bulls Raptors playing, that's the first. My Bulls Heat first playing game tomorrow. Everything tells me that the Bulls should win this game. Everything like the Miami Heat are way worse than they were last year. They've never been offensively great, but they are really offensively challenged this year. It's like they can't do anything right. But I'm just very hesitant to pick the Bulls here. One, they're 3-0 against the Heat in the regular season. So that means they have to beat them for a fourth time in a row at home, where I don't really see Miami losing two big playing games at home at the crib. And on top of that, the Bulls have never won 4 games in a row all season. And if they win on Friday, that will be the first time this year that they have won 4 games in a row. So I do think the Bulls could win this game, and the Bulls should win this game. I just know the team that I root for so passionately, and I'm not going to do that. This is no basketball analysis for this pick. I'm just telling you, if I know the Bulls like I know the Bulls, you have a big 19-point comeback win. You're, the talk of sports media for at least 24 hours. Everybody's talking about it. You're getting the fan base excited. And then you drop a dud on the road. That's not just peak Chicago Bulls. That's peak Chicago sports. That's just not the Bulls. That's the shit that the Bears do all the time. It's shit that the White Sox do all the time. It's shit that the Cubs do, and it's shit that the Blackhawks do. That's just Chicago sports for you. So I'm going to pick the Miami Heat. I'm going to pick the Miami Heat tomorrow. I don't really care if the Bulls win. If they win, cool, that's fine. But I just think if you look at the trends of how the Bulls have played this year, how the Bulls have acted after situations like that, everything lines up with a Miami Heat win. So I'm going to go with that. Wolves Thunder, this one's tough, man. This one's going to be another game that's going to go down to the wire, just like their game with the Pelicans did. But the biggest question mark here for me is the Timberwolves, like Michael Wilbon says, well, he didn't say it like I'm about to say it, but they're a dumbass basketball team. They're a dumbass basketball team. They're the 2-time dumbass champions in a row in the NBA. Just even with them getting into this playing game. After all that happened, you have Rudy Gobert who punched his teammate, which I am not. I'm on Rudy's side with that. You call me a bitch on national TV in front of my teammates, you're going to have a fucking problem. Then you have McDaniels, who fucks up his wrist by punching something in the hallway. Now he's out for the rest of the fucking season. One of your best wing defenders. And you go over that. And a game on Tuesday that they should have won. The Lakers gave the Timberwolves every chance on earth to win that game. And the Timberwolves was like, no. There was a point in that fourth quarter where they weren't even getting past the free throw line offensively. It was just terrible. You would think that was fucking Dennis Rodman guarding Karl-Anthony Towns and not Austin Reeves. And we all know that Anthony Edwards hurt himself in that game, shot terribly in the entire game. And I think that's going to be a factor. I'm going to take the Oklahoma City Thunder, mainly because I would rather see them play as much as I love Ant. If Ant's not healthy, I don't want to see them get curb stomped by the Nuggets. And I do think that the Thunder will lose too. But I feel like it would be a cool NBA story to see that young team become the youngest NBA playoff team ever. I think people forgot it's been such a long time since you've had playoff basketball in Oklahoma, that's a raucous crowd. That was a like college basketball atmosphere type crowd, and I think that'd be something cool to watch and just something that young core can learn from, especially going up a team that's dominated the Western Conference all year in the Denver Nuggets. So, and I just trust Shea Gilgeous-Alexander in the games more than I trust anybody on that Minnesota Timberwolves roster, despite the fact that they will be at the crib. And if Anthony Edwards is 100% is feels good or feels much better, then yeah, they'll have a better chance. But I'm gonna go with the Oklahoma City Thunder for that second playing game, and that means off my picks that the two seeds will be the Milwaukee Bucks will be playing up against the Miami Heat, and it will be the Denver Nuggets going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So let's get into these actual playoff series, man. Kicks off Saturday afternoon, 1 p.m. on the East Coast, 10 a.m. on the West Coast. Um, it will be Sixers and Nets. Sixers and Nets. I feel like this series would have a better storyline if Ben Simmons did something like, I don't know, play the game of basketball. But this is a team where in Brooklyn they I feel like they went from this team of being having a nice group of guys who are good and who are going to compete every night, play hard, but they didn't have a superstar. Then they went and got KD and Kyrie, but now they're right back to the same team here. This is a very pivotal postseason for the Philadelphia 76ers. They have to, in my opinion, at least make the Eastern Conference Finals for something crazy happens. I think James Harden's out that door. We've heard rumors that he wants to go back to Houston because he doesn't like playing with accountability. He just wants to go over there with them strippers and make money. And I'm not mad at it. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I just don't want to hear your name when it comes to legendary winning shit anymore. And Joel Embiid wants to win. And by the way, I'm not saying James Harden doesn't want to win. I just don't think he cares enough to win. Joel Embiid wants to win. And I feel like we're always looking like who's going to be the next disgruntled superstar? Who's going to be the next disgruntled superstar? This window for the Sixers has been about 4 or 5 years now. I mean, the Jimmy Butler thing was 4 years ago when that was probably their best shot up until right now to actually make the NBA Finals when they traded for Jimmy Butler. And then, of course, the Kawhi shot heard around the world that sent them packing, and they just have never, I feel like, been as good since then. This is the time. This is a good Philadelphia 76ers team. I feel like James Harden has played well this year in his role. The thing for him is, can he deliver in the playoffs? He's still yet to do that. The thing is the question for Doc Rivers, who, if it wasn't for Tom Thibodeau and the Big Three from 2008, this man would probably be coaching in Shanghai. And I love Doc. Doc's a cool guy, Chicago guy. I've met Doc. I've had a conversation with Doc. Great guy. Very overrated coach. So you got that. If they blow up, this blows up in their face again, you got that situation. I truly feel like if this team doesn't make these conference finals, Joel Embiid might be, I don't know if he's going to ask, I don't think he's not going to ask for a trade this offseason, but we're definitely looking at 2024 that he might be up in there demanding a trade because they're not winning basketball series, man. So there's not really too much X's and O's here. This is a series where I feel like if the Sixers play their best, not even play their best, but play the way that they should, this should be a gentleman's sweep. In the playoffs, you need star power. It's just that simple. I love him. Mikal Bridges is done. I think I've been a fan of Mikal, but like right before he got drafted. I want him on the Bulls so bad. But to see him step up in even a more offensive role since he's been in Brooklyn, it's been incredible to watch. But I'm going to take the Sixers in 5. I think this is a nice little warm-up series for them to get ready for the Boston Celtics in the second round. And I think you're going to see a lot of Joel Embiid. And speaking of Joel Embiid, on this podcast, on this show, on my podcast, even on my Twitter, I've been team Jokic for MVP all year. I have switched that. I no longer think that Jokic is going to win three MVPs. I really did not like the way that he nor the Denver Nuggets played that last month of the season. They just melted in. If you look at how MVP probably should be voted, it's a snapshot of the entire season. And he lollygagged the last season while Joel was hooping. Now, if we're going strictly on what the NBA tells us that the MVP is voted on, as stats and team success, it should be Giannis. It shouldn't even be a question that it should be Giannis. But Giannis has officially reached the Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Stephen Curry, voter fatigue, where he's not ever going to get it again. But if you look at the numbers, what's much different than when he won it the 2 times prior? Nothing. He's actually better than he was then. So if we're going off that, it should go to him. But all these things, narrative means something. I think Joel will win his first MVP this season. And I've been watching basketball. I've been watching the NBA since the 1995-1996 season, which is the 72 and 10 Bulls team. For all you youngins out there who watch this show. Um, and I have never uh I have never seen, pretty much what we're seeing right now with, the Sixers and basically, I just lost my train of thought. I'm not. I just lost my train of thought. So moving on, but I'm going to have the Sixers and five. I'm going to have the Sixers and five with this series. I think that they should be able to handle this. Oh no, that's what I was going to say. Now I remember what I was going to say. I never seen since that time the debate over MVP of how just out of hand it's gotten now. Um, basketball conversation on the internet is already not fun, but the MVP discussion is even kind of leaked into just regular media where we're talking about things that have nothing to do with MVP. Like, yes, we do know that there are some racist writers, but this is not like Jokic is like fucking, I don't know, Austin Reeves being nominated for a fucking MVP. This is Nikola Jokic. This dude is dominant. He's one of the best players in the NBA. If he did win it, he fucking deserves it, like, because he can hoop. So there's been so many unnecessary conversations over this award that I feel like they maybe didn't switch up a little bit and do what the NFL does. The NFL has an offensive player of the year for somebody who probably won't be the MVP. Because let's face it, the MVP is a quarterback award in the NFL, no matter whether it should be or not. And maybe they should do something like that so we can stop these little dumbass arguments that we keep happening, man. But I'm going to say Sixers and five. This should be a real quick warm-up series. And I think they really on this shit. This could be a sweep. Let's go to the other first round Eastern Conference series, which just got set in stone on Tuesday. It will be the Atlanta Hawks and the very inconsistent Trae Young and Atlanta Hawks will be going up against Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the defending Eastern Conference champion Boston Celtics. We all know the tale of the tape coming here. A lot of fans, a lot of media members was really high on the Atlanta Hawks coming to the season. I was not one of them because I have league pass and I've seen DeJounte Murray. And I think DeJounte Murray is a hooper. I just don't think he's a guy who's taking you to like top 3 or 4 in the East with Trae Young. That's just something I just didn't think was going to happen. But they really underachieved with all the expectations they have, being in a play-in game, being in in that seed position to begin with. While the Celtics have been trying to run it back, the Celtics are trying to get back to the NBA Finals and make up for the mistake they made last year. This has been a team that was on cruise control for a good part of the year. Then they hit difficulties and they let Milwaukee pass them up in the standings. But this is a team where this is a series where I feel like, yes, I'm going with the Boston Celtics. I'm going with the Celtics in five. But this is a series where I feel like will be very entertaining, and all these games are going to go down to the wire. The Atlanta is that streaky of a team, that fluky of a team. And when you got a guy like Trae Young, who, as we've seen, when he does make the playoffs, he's a big-time hooper. They made it to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple years ago. Knicks fans hate Trae Young. So he has that playoff dog in him, and he knows what it takes in these situations to step up. And I feel like this is a series where if the Celtics play with their food, this could be a 6-game series. This could be longer than it need to be. But also at the same time, when you're talking about dumb teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Atlanta Hawks are also a dumbass basketball team. But I think this will go down to the wire each game. But I feel like the Celtics, they're on a mission. They know where they fucked up last year, and I don't think they're going to have this series stretch any further than it needs to be, especially getting ready for a second-round matchup against Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. That's like an Eastern Conference Finals battle right there in the second round. So I feel like they're going to want to get rid of them very quickly, be able to get more rest. And I think that's how it's going to go. I've got the Celtics in five over the Atlanta Hawks. Now, the third and final series of the East that's been set. We're still waiting to see who will play Milwaukee. This to me is the series of the first round for the Eastern Conference. Real old school matchup between two Eastern Conference teams with a lot of history, the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks. If you're a fan of 90s basketball, these two teams used to go at it all the time. This is not going to be one of those super high-scoring series. It's going to be a lot of hard-nosed defense. Going to be a lot of fouls, and of course there will be some good offense. I feel like what you see in Cleveland with Donovan Mitchell, with Darius Garland, and even just the things that Jalen Brunson has done this year, and Julius Randle. It's going to be a very competitive series, very fun series. Cleveland, man, this is their first time since 1998 clinching a playoff spot on a non-LeBron team. That is a phenomenal stat. This will be the first time they've had a playoff game at, I don't know the new arena name. I'm gonna keep calling it the Q. It's the Q to me. These arenas change their damn names every fucking year. It's like stable, like crypto.com arena will always be Staples Center to me. I don't care. So I'm gonna call it the Q. The Q is gonna be the first playoff game in 5 years. Last playoff game they had was game 4 of the 2018 NBA Finals, was Steph left eating popcorn and fucking champagne because they won another championship. So this is going to be exciting for that fan base. Donovan Mitchell, he's been a big time playoff player these last couple of years. This will be Darius Garland's first test of the playoffs. And the Knicks, man, those games at Madison Square Garden are going to be another level. I think everybody remembers how the Garden got down 2 years ago when they were only like one of like 2 or 3 arenas that were going full capacity during the time where the vaccine just came out and everybody wasn't really vaccinated yet. And it was full capacity and it was loud. And there's one thing I'll give the Knicks: Madison Square Garden is one of the spots where it's a spot you want to see a big time playoff game. And I feel like that crowd is gonna be ready. Game 3 is on a Friday. It's gonna be lit out there. There's gonna be a lot of people out, a lot of celebrities. It's gonna be fun. And I know that Julius Randle is coming into this series hobbled. Of course, we all know he sprained his ankle the last couple weeks of the season, but I'm expecting him to go. He's one of those Iron Man players where he plays if he can play. And I think the series can go either way, but I'm taking the New York Knicks. I've been high on this Knicks team really since the calendar hit January. I think they've been really impressive, even in games that Jalen Brunson missed with injury or games that Julius missed with injury. They've been impressive. And for the first time, I actually saw Tibbs grow. Tibbs grew as a coach this year. I'm a Bulls fan. Tibbs was our first coach. And Tibbs used to never play rookies. Tibbs used to never adjust. Tibbs used to never take feedback from anybody on fucking planet Earth. He did the same thing when he was in Minnesota. He did all of that this year, and it's really helped tremendously to where you have this whole team playing like a team. You got a great bench. They traded for Josh Hart. That was a great acquisition. And Emmanuel Quickly, in my opinion, should be sixth man of the year. He's been great. And this is a series where I feel like the Knicks cannot allow this to go to a game 7, because if it goes to a game 7, you know the rule. I don't know if I think Magic Johnson said it. You never want a game 7 when the best player is on the opposing team. And that best player is Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell is going to put up some big numbers at Madison Square Garden. We all know he was a Knicks fan growing up, and we know the Knicks didn't want to give up the capital they needed to get Donovan Mitchell early in the season. But I'm going to take the Knicks in 6 games. I think they play a more fluid style of offense than the Cavs. The Cavs play a lot of go-to-hell ball, and I like the Knicks' defense more than I like the Cavs. And one thing that Jalen Brunson showed us in the playoffs last year, he can dominate in the postseason. He basically beat Utah by himself with Luka being hurt in the first round last year. So I'm going to say Knicks in 6, because if it goes 7, then I got the Cavs. But I say Knicks in 6. This is going to be such an entertaining series, and I can't wait to watch that, man. So let's go to the Wild Wild West. Every series in the West, man, I think is going to be, outside of the Denver series, like, no matter who they play, Minnesota or Thunder, like, there might be a game or two and one of them can steal from the Nuggets, but it's not going to be like a series to shoot. Like, that's the NBA TV series of the Western Conference this year. But every other series is wildly entertaining. We're going to start with the battle for the Bay Area, man. We've got the 4-time reigning, defending NBA champion Golden State Warriors starting their drive for 5, in the words of my man Johnny Red Kerr. The drive for 5 for the Golden State Warriors. We started on the road. They're looking to become only the second 6 seed in NBA history to win the NBA championship. Of course, we all know that the first team to do that was the number 6 seed, the defending champion Houston Rockets in 1995. That team led by the one and only Hakeem Olajuwon. Kenny Smith had some big buckets that year in that postseason. Mario Elie throwing some real throwback names on y'all. So they're trying to be the first team since then to win the championship as being a 6 seed. They're going up against a team that is making their first playoff appearance since I was 17 years old. I was 17 years old 17 motherfucking years ago. So that tells you how long ago that was. They're going up against the Sacramento Kings, who blew away everybody's expectations. I've given them love on the show and on our podcast. Mike Brown is coach of the year to me. I felt like De'Aaron Fox should have been voted in as a star. He shouldn't have been an injury place. He should have been in there. Sabonis, he's been hooping. That whole team is just really good. And this is the thing right here where, congratulations to the Kings. They made the playoffs, but unfortunately for them, they got to go run up against a team that's dominated this league for almost the past decade. And I think it'll be fun. This is a series where I feel like I wouldn't be shocked if we see multiple ass whoopings. What I mean by that, no part of me be surprised if game one is over on Saturday and we see that the Kings then hung up a 28 spot on the Warriors, and everybody start thinking they looking like the bad boy Pistons before they got swept by the Bulls. It could be one of them. Here's the difference: the Warriors can do the same damn thing. Now we know the Warriors can get their ass whooped and bounce back. Have been so many more times than we count. They lost by 44 last year in the playoffs against Memphis. And remember when everybody remembers Draymond with the towel to whoop that trick. Everybody remembers that. So they can bounce back for these type of losses. Can the Kings bounce back? I feel like if the Warriors give them a nice punch to the mouth with a 30-point win, it's gonna be hard for that young team to respond. Nobody on that team has been to the NBA playoffs. It's a different thing. Experience really does matter. And I feel like that crowd will be raucous. This will be the first playoffs in the new arena that they got. I remember the old school Arco Arena, the cowbells. Used to be loud in that motherfucker. So that's going to be a good crowd. But it's a battle-tested Warrior team. I don't give a damn about their road record in the regular season. I don't care about that shit. This is who they are. Stephen Curry is one of the greatest players. This is the Steph Curry, this is the LeBron James, Steph Curry era. Those are two dudes where if you have any question about what they do in the postseason, you don't watch basketball. Those two dudes have proven it. They both won the same amount of championships. Those are the guys. And Steph is going to be ready. Draymond's going to be ready. They're getting Andrew Wiggins back. He's going to be playing. GP2, he's back. You know what I'm saying? Jordan Poole. And then one of the best coaches in the league in Steve Kerr. It's a battle-tested team, and this might be their last dance because I'm not expecting Draymond Green to be on the Golden State Warriors next year. I just don't see any way the Warriors pay him the money that he's going to want. And I know that it's probably the contract that Draymond's asking for. Does he really deserve right now at this point in his career? No, but it is a legacy contract that he is going to deserve just off the shit that he's done before. Let's not act like this hasn't happened in the history of this league. So this is going to be the last dance for them because I know they're still great without Draymond, but they're not winning shit without Draymond Green. It's just that damn simple. But for this one, this is, I saw a tweet. Somebody says, as long as the Warriors can still run illegal screens, they're going to win this one. I'm going to say Warriors in 6 just because I'm respecting the Sacramento Kings, but it would not surprise me whatsoever if this is a 5-game series. It's just a bad matchup for them. They're young, they're inexperienced. This is a successful season to them. No matter what happened, nobody in their highest expectations had them, as a number 3 seed in the West. But they're just going up against the bully on the block, man, and that bully gonna knock them the fuck out. And they don't even have to travel. Like this is a less than 90-mile drive from San Francisco to Sacramento. They're probably going to go back to San Francisco after game 1. I don't think they're even going to be staying in the hotel. So that's going to help them tremendously. I think the champs going to get it done, man. They're going to advance to the next round. This next series is one I've literally just made my pick like 30 minutes ago. I've been going back and forth in my head about which way I'm going to go with this one the last 48 hours since the Lakers punched their playoff ticket. It is the 2-seeded Memphis Grizzlies going up against the Los Angeles Lakers. We just talked about the last dance with the Warriors. This might be the last dance for LeBron as far as having a legit chance to win an NBA championship. Now, it's a small chance, before Pappy puts in there like, they ain't got no fucking chance. But it's not a high chance as anybody else, but there's a little path here. There's a little path. They're going to have to play damn near borderline perfect basketball, but there's a little path here. I do think that this will be LeBron's last true shot to get number 5. I believe he feels the same way too. If you just look the way he's answering questions. Memphis, man, this is that time too. Memphis last year, they've come off back-to-back years of, winning 50 games and being the second seed for the second year in a row. They've had a tumultuous season. Of course, we know all the shit that's been going on with Ja Morant. But they're missing 2 very key guys coming into this series. Steven Adams, who has not played since January, he is out for this series. He's out for the rest of the season. Brandon Clark, of course, he tore his Achilles a couple months ago. He's gonna miss the rest of this series, rest of the season, and all damn near probably all of next year as well. So those are 2 big guys that's gonna be a problem. Man, I've gone back and forth this. I'm going to say this series is going to end in one or two ways. Either the Lakers win a close, long series, or the Grizzlies just beat their ass. The Grizzlies really, on paper, should whoop their ass. The Grizzlies are a great defensive team. The Lakers have absolutely no answer for Ja Morant. None whatsoever. The key to me is this: can they make the smarter plays? We all know LeBron's gonna be the smartest man on the court. We all know Anthony Davis has been balling out of his mind. I think AD is gonna eat without Steven Adams and Brandon Clark. This is gonna be one of them series where we talk a lot about the free throw attempt between the two teams because I feel like the Lakers are going to live at the free throw line. This is not no NBA conspiracy shit. It's because that's the Laker game. They get to the free throw line. LeBron is great at getting to the free throw line. Anthony Davis is great at getting to the free throw line. Shit, Austin Reeves does an amazing job of getting to the free throw line. It's going to be one of the things that they're going to take advantage of those two bigs not being there and a guy who loves getting the foul trouble. We talk about Karl Towns staying in foul trouble. Jaren Jackson is the foul out king. And that's going to be somebody I think they're going to target. I think if the Warriors if the Grizzlies played their brand of basketball, they should beat the fuck out the Lakers, and this series should be over in 5 games tops. But I'm gonna pick the Lakers. I'm not very confident about this. I had the Grizzlies as my pick an hour and a half ago. But if it gets to a game 7, I'm not going up against LeBron James. I'm just not. Now this is a statement moment for Ja Morant and the Grizzlies. We talked about this on our Summer Sessions pod. Shout out to homie J.R. Bang. He said, could this be the passing of the torch moment? And not as in, the best player. LeBron hasn't been the best player for a couple years. It's been Giannis for at least 4 years now. So that's not what we're talking about. We were talking about, who's going to be the next American-born superstar in that league. And it's looking like it's Ja Morant. If Ja Morant can beat LeBron James and beat this team, that's the perfect way. And look, I talk a lot of shit about the Grizzlies. They're not one of my favorite teams, but I feel like they talk more shit than is warranted. But I love their attitude coming to this series. I'm actually going to give Dylan Brooks some love. He said we would love to face LeBron because if anything, that would be a notch on our belt if we could beat him. This is a great test coming out the road. And if the Grizzlies are trying to do what they're trying to do, and that's win the NBA championship, you got to knock some people out. This is not going to be an easy road. And I think to start with a guy who's just dominated everything the last 10, 12 years, and LeBron James will be an amazing start. But they have to get them out the way early. They got to play smart. And if Ja Morant is the best player on the court, then I feel like they win this series in 5 games. But I got to see it. I've been saying it all year with them, but especially without Steven Adams and Brandon Clark, I think that is those are 2 massive blows. I'm going to go Lakers in 7, and that would set up a series that will make the NBA, ESPN, Disney, TNT, all these motherfuckers grin ear to ear. That's LeBron James and Steph Curry, probably for the last time in the playoffs in the second round. Everybody will love that. And I feel like that is going to be the second round series that we're going to see. Last series we're going to go over for today is a series that I will be covering. Give a round of applause for me. I will be covering my first NBA postseason. It will be the Phoenix Suns going up against the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers have not officially ruled Paul George out. I know they're waiting for the last minute. PG even said on his podcast that he's still doing treatment. He's trying to give himself every chance to play, but let's cut the shit. Paul George is not playing in the series. In fact, I don't think the Clippers see PG again until they at least get to the Western Conference Finals, which I don't think they will be in the Western Conference Finals. But Kawhi Leonard, this is the first postseason in 2 years for Kawhi when the Clippers actually went to the conference finals against this very team. And he got hurt in game 1 or right before game 1 where he tore his ACL. This is going to be a competitive series. The Phoenix Suns are undefeated with Kevin Durant in the lineup since they got him. This is a team that was very embarrassed in the regular season and postseason last year. They had the best record in basketball, got absolutely disrespected by Luka Doncic in the Dallas Mavericks in the second round last year. They're trying to come get their shit back. This goes back to Last Dance. This is Chris Paul's last chance too. CP3 wants another championship. And I know a lot of questions I had, a lot of questions other people had with depth. Do the Suns have the depth? There's anything these last 2-3 regular season games show me is they have good depth on this team with them playing where they played with basically their stars resting the last 2 games. If Paul George is playing, I will probably pick the Clippers in this series. But I think Phoenix gets it done. Playoff Kawhi is amazing. He's fun to watch. I think we've forgotten just how impactful Kawhi can be in the playoffs. But there's one thing that's better than playoff Kawhi, and that's playoff Kevin Durant. And at the end of the day, we can sit up here talking about X's and O's and things like that. End of the day, Kevin Durant. It's KD, bro. It's just that fucking simple. At the end of the day, it's just going to be way too much KD for the Clippers to handle. But I do think this will be a long series. I think this is going to full 7. I'm going to take the Phoenix Suns in 7 games, and then I have them advancing to the next round where they would play 9 times out of 10 in Denver Nuggets because, the AFC ain't beating Denver. So those are my predictions for the series that are set. I will give my predictions on my Twitter page for whoever plays Milwaukee, whoever plays Denver. Spoiler alert: Milwaukee and Denver are both going to advance, no matter who they fucking play. But I'm really, really excited. I love the first weekend of any playoffs with, whether it be the NBA, whether it be Stanley Cup playoffs, whether it be MLB playoffs, NFL, because the first weekend is just so many fucking games. I just can't wait to sit on my couch, drink a lot of alcohol, eat a lot of food that's not good for me, and just watch basketball all fucking day. I'm really looking forward to that, man. So we're going to be with you each and every week through this playoff season. We got 2 months of this shit, man. The NBA Finals is in 2 months. We watched, in my opinion, probably the worst regular season that I can imagine in recent history in the NBA. So hopefully the playoffs makes up for it. I really enjoyed the last 2 postseasons, so hopefully this one is great too, man. We're gonna wrap this up with our goofy mog of the week, man. I gotta give this to first. I was gonna give this to the detractors of Zion Williamson. Now, Zion obviously did not play last night. Zion has not played a lick of basketball since New Year's Day, which honestly feels like 5 years ago up to this point. He came out and said, physically he feels fine, but he doesn't want to go out there until he can play like Zion. And as soon as I heard them comments, I knew people were going to run with it. My thing is this: before I blame the person I want to blame, uh, let the kid be ready. I know we like to force these athletes on the court. You're getting paid millions of dollars, you just play all the other shit. I get it. But if he's not mentally there, he's not mentally there. And this reminds me of when Derrick Rose said the same thing about 10 years ago. He was cleared, doctor cleared him, come back with his ACL, but he said he wasn't ready. I heard that man get massacred on every radio station, every TV network in America and in Chicago. And it really did a number on him, man. Let's not do the same thing to this kid. If he says he's not ready, he's not fucking ready. I don't think that Zion Wilson is a competitor at the end of the day. I don't think Zion is intentionally or being a punk about this and leaving his teammates out there. I feel like if he felt like he could go, he would be out there. So just let these players go through their process, what they need to go to. But one thing I didn't like was that little backhanded, not even backhanded, a little sly comment by CJ McCollum last night about saying, well, I ain't play. I could have had surgery, but I decided to play. We need our best players on the court. Da 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 da. And it's like, dude, if you got a problem with it, just bring it to him and talk about it in the locker room as a team. Bringing it to the media is some corny ass shit. And CJ McCollum is a nice player. I think he's good. But you're not Zion Williamson, bro. You'll be playing in fucking Utah if you keep talking about Zion Williamson. If anything, you should have played better last night. Y'all might be still playing if you played better last night. This isn't on Zion. You were on the court. You didn't do enough. So I don't like sly shit about that. Anything you got an issue with your teammates, you take it up with your teammates inside the locker room. We, the media, don't need to be hearing about that shit. Now, I just thought that shit was real corny, man. So I'm going to give my goofy mog of the week to one CJ McCollum. That's all I got to say about that. I do not give a shit about that Kyle Kuzma and who the fuck he battling with? Who do he going back and forth with? Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't care about that shit, man. 2 niggas on the trade block every year going up against each other. Like let's stop the bullshit. But that's all I got for y'all today, man. Another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You. Next week we will actually be talking about some games. We should be getting ready for games 3. Actually, next Thursday we're probably gonna have to go on either Friday or Wednesday next week because game 3 of Clippers and Suns will be next Thursday, and I'll be at Staples Center. So I'll give y'all updated once we lock in the day, but it'll either be Wednesday or Friday next week for another episode, man. But thank you everybody for joining me once again. If you are looking for a spot to watch the NFL draft, we will be having the Chicago Barbers Chair Network draft watch party at our partners, Haymarket Pub and Brewery in the West Loop area of downtown Chicago. That is 737 West Randolph Street. It will be from 5 to 10:30 p.m. Doors open at 5. Doors actually might open a little earlier. We'll keep y'all updated on that. But just come out, man. It's going to be a Thursday night. Chicago's been getting some good weather. It's summertime in Chicago already. We out here dealing with fucking 55 and 61 out here in LA. And y'all motherfuckers on boats and shit in April. I'm a little jealous right now. So it's going to be good weather. Come out. JR Band's going to be hosting. We got the Homegirls, the label. They're going to be in there spinning. Come go to Raffles. We gonna have a pool table set up, man. Come eat and drink. And it don't matter if you a Bears fan, if you are a Cowboy fan, Bengals fan, or a little punk ass fan of any of them other NFC North teams. We don't care. We accept everybody here. We accept everybody. Come on out, have a good time. Me and my brother will be holding it down on the front lines in Kansas City at the draft. So we'll be keeping y'all updated. We'll be keeping y'all on the loop of what's going on in the draft too, man. So it should be fun. Come out. Once again, shout out to my super producer, Pavi. We got new music from him dropping in a couple of days, man. So look out for that. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Barberchair Scott. Follow H&B Media at H&B Media TV on Twitter and at H&B Media on Instagram. Follow the Barberchair Network at BarberchairNet on Twitter and IG, and subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/Barberchair Network. We got a new episode of Summer Sessions that's out right now. The homie Damien joined us back this week, and we've got a new episode of Cinema with the Guys. Me and Dante break down a very shocking and amazing episode of Succession, the final season of Succession. You can check that out right now, man. So also visit thebcnet.com and RSVP for the event, man. That's all I got for y'all. Y'all enjoy the games this weekend, and I'll holler at y'all next week. We out.
Getting paper on display, haters old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not